Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. I think it's a big task when you are the last speaker at the end of the day. Everybody's tired and they all want to have the dinner. So it's my challenge now to keep up your interest levels for the next 20 or 25 minutes. But before that, I want to thank my friend Ranga for inviting me to speak at this event. And I must say that I was very impressed by the award winners. So congratulations to the award winners. So welcome to my fellow guests on the dais, ladies and gentlemen and students. I started my career at a very young age, at the age of 20. I just passed college. I'm just a commerce graduate. I didn't do MBA like many of you are studying. And I was not that bright, in studies, so I couldn't get admission to the management schools. At that time, very few. We just had IIM Ahmedabad, Bajaj School, and I think IIM Calcutta. Long story short, I couldn't get into MBA. And my father asked me to join the business. He didn't allow me to go abroad because he thought I'll never come back. So those days, much, when I was very young, you were very obedient than compared to today's kids, where they want to go, they they will not listen. So I joined the organization, a very small organization at that time, Bombay Oil Industries. I was the first person from the next generation to join the company. My father and three of his brothers, my uncles, were managing the business. And it was a typically family-managed business located in the heart of commodity markets in Masjid Mandar in Bombay. No professionals, family taking all the decisions, and accounting staff sitting on gaddis. So typically family-managed organization. And in that exploration, I'm glad that my father gave me a free hand. One of the businesses we had was edible oil business. But most of the sale happened to industries in bulk, in barrels, and a very small portion of it was being branded and sold in small packs. Nobody from the family went to the market or advertised, so there was no attention given to the consumer products. I don't even remember what kind of turnover we were doing, but I reckon in the range of 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs per year. And in that exploration, I realized that if I can actually improve distribution and promote these two brands which were existing in a very, very small manner in parts of Maharashtra, Saffola in parts of Bombay, parts of Delhi. If I created distribution, I should be able to increase sales. And I did that. In the initial stages, I used to travel a lot, travel to interior markets in Maharashtra, Gujarat. Many times in small towns, you couldn't have a hotel also, so I appointed distributors, stay with the distributor at his house. So, did all the retailing on my own, and then started attracting talent. Over a period of time, built a national distribution network, and we gained about 10-15% market share in coconut oil segment. And at that time, I realized that this 10-15% we were stagnating in terms of our growth. We had to do something different. So at that time, all the coconut oil was packed in tins. And we said that if we can offer coconut oil in plastics, it's cheaper than tins. It's more convenient to use in terms of pouring. It's more attractive also on a dressing table. So we thought we had a winner on hands. We went to the consumers liked the idea. But when we went to the trade, they just rejected that idea of coconut oil in plastics. Apparently, about 10 years prior to us, somebody else had launched coconut oil in plastics and nobody knew about it. We didn't know. And it was a disaster because the product was launched in square-shaped container, not a proper job in terms of packing the oil coming out on the outer surface of the plastic container. The retailer closed the shop in the night. Next day when the retailer opened, all the bottles were eaten by rats. So not only damage to the product, but damage to the shop also. So we said, what do we do? The retailer said, no, we are not going to stop. Don't even try. So we had a huge kind of a challenge. At one level, I was convinced that we had a winner on hands. But as entrepreneurs, you never give up. You have to go on trying different options, So we said that let's go back to the drawing board. So we went back to our packaging vendor and told them, can you design a bottle which is difficult for the rat to get a grip? So that came to kind of a rounded kind of a bottle shape. Then we went to our packaging department saying that ensure that the rats are not able to smell that there is coconut oil inside. So no drop of oil on the outer surface of the bottle. We did all that, and then we said, how do we prove that it is working? So we actually packed about 6 or 8 bottles and put in a rat cage for a day. And luckily no damage done, so we took a lot of pictures. And with that we went back to the trade and said that this is what we have tested. And after the test we were so confident that we were willing to reimburse the retailer also for any damages. And that's how our journey began, from converting from tin to plastic. At one level, very easy, low-tech innovation, but innovation is just not idea. I think a lot of it also is execution and not giving up. And what I would do at that time would be continuously track what is the percentage of plastic sales. And we were the pioneers in plastic. We would advertise benefits of plastics over tins at a lower cost, convenient, whatever, easy to pour, better looking. It took about 5 to 7 years for us to convert the whole market from tin to plastics. And in that journey, what happened was our market share jumped up from a 15% to more than 50% market share. And it's a very big category, packed coconut oil is a huge category. We pack in small bottles, and I don't even remember, we pack something like 4 or 5 or 40 or 50 million bottles every month. So imagine the traction it had in terms of number of customers. Come winter, what used to happen was, again, coconut oil freezes in colder weather, so people would go back to tins. So we had to design a container which was round shape, which was easy like a tin, like a round shape with a spout. And again, that transfer to tins in winter stopped. As the brand became popular, we started seeing a lot of copycats. At one survey which was done by FICCI, Parachute was the most copied brand in India. We had something like 100 plus copycats. Look alike, similar name, similar, and especially in rural areas where the buyers were not educated. They would think that it is Parachute, but they were buying something else. And we were losing about 20% of our sales to these copycats. So how do we use innovation again to overcome this? And one of our managers had gone to a fair in Europe, and he identified a mold maker who made a mold which was difficult to copy. First of all, it was quite expensive. It was at those days, that mold would cost something like 2 crores. It was a combination of a pilfer-proof and a flip top. So we imported the mold and we launched the product, and all of a sudden the copycats vanished. It was a matter of time. Indian mold makers were able to make a mold at a fraction of a cost. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is that any innovation journey has to be on a perpetual basis. You can't say I've innovated and stop. For every brand, there has to be continuous process of innovation to be 2 steps ahead of others, because it's a matter of time, others will copy. And now everybody is in plastic. But we had that lead, and I think that lead helped us. So when we started looking at markets outside India, we realized that Bangladesh is a very big market. And all the complete Bangladesh market was in tins, dominated by local brands. So we said that whatever we have done in India, we can go much more aggressively in Bangladesh. So we launched everything together, the wide mouths, the new flip top, the plastic bottles. And it took us about much lesser time. In 4 or 5 years, we became market leaders in Bangladesh. And today we have almost 80% market share in Bangladesh. So we are the largest Indian company in Bangladesh, and it's a fairly large business. But I think innovation was able to scale up to some other international market. And if I look back at my own journey, whenever we have innovated, we've seen a discontinuous rise in our sales. And I can give you multiple examples of innovations we've done. At one level, not technology-led, very low on technology, but more consumer insighting, understanding consumer, either in the area of packaging or developing a new product. And I'll just give you 2, 3 quick examples. We bought this brand Medicare, which is a brand for children, for anti-lice. It was sold to us by Procter & Gamble. and it was only available in shampoos. So we at that time, and that happened almost 15, 20 years back, we said that if we can offer this same product in an oil format, we'll be able to increase sales, because the oil users, especially in the rural areas at that time, they were not used to using shampoos. And if you offered that same product in oil, we can expand the market size for Medicare. We did that within 1 year of acquisition, and the sales of Medicare just doubled within a year. So again, consumer insight, understanding what it works, and leveraging that and offering products which are relevant. One recent example, I would say we launched under our Saffola brand, we launched oats. And same thing, exactly. We got about 10-15% market share competing against the likes of Kellogg's, Quaker. But it was again a Me Too product. We couldn't go beyond that. So we said that what can we do? And while interacting with our customers, consumers, we realized that people, Indians especially, like oats which are savory oats and not sweet oats. If you offer just plain oats, you can make sweet oats out of that. So we said that if Maggi can do something to the noodles in terms of offering various value-added noodles, can we do the same thing to the oats? So we went a little overboard on taste. For South, we had specific tastes like pongal and a few other relevant tastes for South. North, in West, we had pav bhaji taste oats. And we pioneered that savory oats category. And in that category, the category has grown in the last 4 or 5 years. Now it's almost become 150 crore category. We have a 70% market share. So again, pioneering something, understanding what the consumer wants and leveraging into the marketplace. So how do you drive innovation is very critical. And I think you need a certain type of culture if you want innovation to be driven on a perpetual basis. I think you need, first of all, people who are diverse, who are self-motivated, and who are working in a company which has a very open kind of culture, where people can talk to each other. Innovation doesn't happen in just R&D labs, In many cases, the brand manager saw it. In some cases, somebody else saw it, talks to somebody else. And that's how, from an initial idea to the final stage, it undergoes many iterations, changes, and develops into a viable, I would say, prototype, which has to be tested with the consumer. So you need a very open environment. You need people who are driven. You need to have that mindset of experimentation, that it's okay to fail, because any experiment, innovations, multiple innovations I can talk about have failed. But if somebody takes an intelligent experiment and for whatever reason it doesn't work out, and if the management uses that example to punish that person and not giving that increment or not giving that deserved promotion, then nobody will take risks in the organization. So it's very important for the organization to not only encourage experimentation, but also to ensure that you're not punished for failures out of intelligent experimentation. If somebody does a foolish thing, yes, you should punish that person. But in intelligent experimentation, because there is no shortcut to being present in the market. They say you can do market research, but market research has a lot of limitations. Ultimately, you have to test that concept in the marketplace. And what we suggest is that we can prototype. In today's environment, any experiment you do can be prototyped through an e-commerce player, or it could be prototyped through a modern retail chain. You go to Reliance or DMart or Future and tell them we want to see this product and how it does. So what we try to do is we do many prototypes at a time. Some of them succeed, some of them don't succeed. But then once a certain action standard for prototype is achieved, then we tend to scale it up. Even in oats also, we had prototyped in I think Tamil Nadu only, and it did well, and then after that we decided to, because the cost of launching a new brand, especially if you do it nationally and through television, it can go to very large amounts. So you have to de-risk a little bit, test out your concept, and use that prototype as a live lab where you go on making changes in your offering. May it be pricing, it could be packaging, it could be formulation, and you go on experimenting until you achieve the action standard. If you think that you're not going to succeed, then it's better to withdraw. And we have had multiple failures, and one failure we had was when we launched Saffola Snacks. This happened, and this was prototyped in Bombay. And Saffola as a brand is good for heart. It stands very strongly for good for heart. And we said that if we offered, at that time there were no baked snacks. We said that if we offer baked snacks instead of fried snacks, I think people will buy it. So we developed baked snacks. The problem at our end was we were too inside out, We said that Saffola as a brand stands very strongly for health. So we give preference of health to taste. And the consumer rejected, In snacks category, taste is the most important, And health comes later. You go home, if you're having a drink, or just go home after coming from work, you want to have something which is tasty. You don't want something which is healthy but not tasty. And the product bombed, but we used the learnings of all these failures in snacks towards our oats, and we went overboard in ensuring that oats are very tasty. Not only tasty, but we were catering to requirements for different regions. So net-net, I think it's very, very important that organizations give thrust to innovations. Today, if you ask any global CEO, I think innovation is almost the topmost priority for most global CEOs, irrespective of the category they are present in, whether it's high-tech, low-tech, consumer products, service business, because I think it's very, very competitive, and then you can't succeed in the marketplace if you have a me-too product. So organizations need to create a right to win on a perpetual basis. And that can only come through an organization which is innovative, which go on identifying opportunities for innovation and goes on prototyping. So we've done that, and we've seen a big impact on our overall financials. We have, from a small commodity company, we've gone into an FMCG company. From an Indian company, we've become an international company. From a low value added, we've become a high value add. So net, I'm saying that it has paid off huge dividends, and I would strongly suggest those who are entrepreneurs here to look at innovation from a culture point of view, because you need innovation just not once or twice, but on a perpetual basis. Separately, one of the award winners I heard is using coconut water for making the plants, and maybe I think I could connect him with because we buy a lot of coconuts, and some of them we buy directly, and we crack the coconut and throw away the water. So maybe we can give it to him also, and he can use that. So I think with those words, I just want to say that thank you very much again, Ranga, for calling me here. And I hope I was able to do some justice to at the end of the session. So all the best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It truly indeed was so inspiring to listen to you talk at length about all of this. Now I'd like to request Mr. C.K. Ranganathan and Mr. Ravichandran P. to step forward and do the honor of presenting a memento to our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Harsh Mariwala, and to Mr. Terry Thomas of Ernst & Young for supporting the award as the process advisor. Distinguished chairman and members of the panel of jury to do us the honor of accepting a memento in appreciation of the great support which has contributed towards the success of the award. As I call out the distinguished members, the panel of the jury, I'd like to request the audience to kindly be seated. We are still in the process. We'd like to request you to bear with us for the next 5 minutes. It'll be a very quick process. First up, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan, former chairman and CEO Cognizant, to kindly join us on stage. Some of our members of the panel of jury are not here, but I'd still like to go ahead and thank them. Mr. K. Srinivasan, Managing Director, Carborundum Universal Limited. Ms. Shubha Kumar, Managing Director, Natation Synchrocones Private Limited. Mr. Mahalingam K. is available here, our Director, TSM Group of Companies. I'd like to request you to join us. Ms. Mridula Ramesh, Executive Director, Sundaram Textiles. Mr. Satish Kumar K, Global Head, Legal and Chief Data Protection Officer, Ramco Systems Private Limited. Our panel of jury, Preliminary Awards Committee, Mr. N. Harihara Subramaniam, MD and CEO of Mayura Automation and Robotic Systems. Mr. B. Parameshwar Babu, Managing Director, Param Projects Private Limited, Chennai. Mr. M. Sundaram, Director, Super Auto Forge Limited. And with that, we move on to our event partners. Our radio media partner, Mr. Abhilash from Big FM, if you could join us here. Following with that, our TV media partner, I'd like to request Mr. Babu Paranisamy from Pudhiya Thalaimurai and Pudu Yugam to kindly join us on stage. A big thank you to all of you for being such an instrumental part in ensuring that the awards function happens at such a smooth pace. That's our TV media partner, Pudhiya Thalaimurai and Pudu Yugam, Mr. Babu Paranisamy. Also a very special mention to our cinematographer, Mr. Chokalingam. He is the one who's responsible for all of the videos that you saw today. It's a painstaking effort to get together and edit it and, present it so beautifully. Thank you so much, Mr. Chokalingam. Our event manager, Ms. Archana from Wow Events. We'd have a representative, Krishna, coming up and picking it up on her behalf. From the PR team of Brandcom, I'd like to request Mr. Arjunan. Ms. Guneet from Samskriti, our food and beverage partner. And of course, my name is on the list, but thank you all so much for doing this. Thank you, all of our distinguished dignitaries. Thank you, Mr. Ranganathan. Thank you, Mr. Ravichandran. Thank you, our chief guest. Thank you, everyone, for doing the honors. I'd now like to request our group captain, R. Vijay Kumar, a VSM Executive Director, MMA and recipient of the Vishisht Seva Medal from the President of India, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shruti. I don't want to be between you and the dinner. Quickly, it's a privilege for me to be here to deliver the formal vote of thanks. It's my duty to thank so many people who have made this function a great event. First, Mr. Arsh Mariwala, we are indeed blessed, sir, that your presence to Chennai and your inspiring address. So many people who are listened. We have a large number of management students. I am quite sure they'll be really inspired, and you put the seed of innovation in each one of the mind. I'm going to be sure that you won't have any problem in few years hence to select a great innovator for a Chinnikrishnan Innovation Award. Mr. C.K. Ranganathan, what to say about C.K. Ranganathan, and he's been a great source of inspiration not only for the business and the innovation wheel, also for MMA and as a past president, and collaborating with him in doing the event is always a great. Thank you, Mr. C.K.R. for choosing MMA to be with us. Terry Thomas, a very tough process manager, is like a headmaster. You cannot deviate an inch, and it's always made us follow the rule by rule book, go by the rule book. Terry, it's always a pleasure working with you. Thank you so much. The panel of jury, chaired by Ms. Lakshmi Narayanan, and many of them who made this event really possible. And if you've seen the video, the panel of jury have been very, very serious. They are very knowledgeable from different walks of life that made the selection process very easier for us. And Mr. Chokalingam, who is a videographer, you have seen the fantastic video All that is possible only because we have a professional videographer, and Chokalingam is the one who made all this possible to present what exactly is happening in the field of innovation to each one of us, the jury as well as to you, that made the evening great. Then we also have the team, CavinKare, Emmanuel, Geeta, Sayuj. They have been a pillar of support to MMA, and because it's the teamwork which is made possible the great event. And Archana, as usual, event manager, great job, very well done. I think all that, what innovation, how you present it makes all the difference, and that is what I think. And also I want to thank Archana, another Archana from Accent Foundation. She has been a great support to us, and thank you so much for facilitating Mr. Mariwala. I think it's been a great evening because of his presence. Shruti Vijaykumar, you have been a great MC, very inspiring. And Samir, Sam's Kitchen, you're going to enjoy the great food. It's all from Sam's Kitchen of catering, and Samir Singh and Guneet Singla is going to be there taking care of you personally. And also my Senior Vice President, Mr. Ravichandran, who has been a thing, our President Venkatraman, Ram Venkatraman is not here. He's gone to Delhi to attend a beautiful, very serious ACMA meeting, and he's conveyed sincere regret he's not been able to do a great event. Thanks to Ravichandran, members of the media, people watching live, and last but not the least, my team from MMA. I think it not have been possible. All the credit goes to the leader, but ultimately the team from MMA, which worked so hard to produce more than 700 events in a year, and we are number one in the country for the last 10 years. All credit goes to Team MMA. Thank you so much for each one of you. You are a great delegate, and please join us for dinner. Before that, I request you all to raise for the national anthem.
On that note, I know the group captain has done the honors of saying the vote of thanks. I'd like to thank everybody who's been here as part of the event and having made this a huge success. A big thank you to the audience for being so kind and so welcoming. This is me, RJ Shruti, signing off for the night. Please join us for dinner outside, and have a fantastic weekend.